Oh, hi guys, Happy New Year. Or maybe I should say Happy Newest Year, since the Earth is continuing to revolve in its orbit as it has for some 4.5 billion years. Context is key. It's just the newest year. Oh, and I'm wearing my silver fox sweater to still ring in the holidays. I kind of want to talk about the holidays a little bit in relation to sentimentality. And I just was thinking a lot about that word because it's often a pejorative, especially as we get older. We get so bitter and jaded and negative and dark, and like anything that reeks of sentimentality we don't think is like pure art or real, or it's just for kids. And I've gone through periods of that too, like, oh my God, the holidays are so commercial, it's so greedy, and it's capitalism, and it still is those things. And obviously, as you know, I'm always talking about, it's also, there's a dire effect of that, right? Like the consumption aspect of it, but I don't want to go into that today because it's just not healthy for the planet. But I'm just wanting to talk about the feeling aspect of, so it is those things, but it is also, to me, it evokes a sentiment, right? Because it's based on feelings and nostalgia. And when I was thinking about the hope for the holidays, or why do children, when you see children so lit up during the holidays and so hopeful and so it's just enamored with, I think, hope and possibility and the mystery and the wonder of it. And obviously, when we get older, we know that Santa Claus doesn't exist, but the representation of what Christmas and the holidays is still alive within us. And how do we be mindful of not losing connection to that? Because just because you get older doesn't mean you want to lose connection to the inner child, because it's alive inside you. And I think it's so easy to disconnect and become, I keep using this like I'm smoking a cigarette, but that aspect of being too cool for school. And when you're too cool for school, you're not centering your heart, and you're not putting yourself at any kind of vulnerable risk. And that leads me to, I saw these two movies. I've seen a lot of movies, but over the holiday. But these two foreign films that I think are so, I wouldn't have thought about them as being sentimental, but now looking back at it in terms of all these things that I've been thinking about, they're so beautifully sentimental, but not, when we think about sentimental, I want us to keep remembering that maybe in our culture, this word sentiment is being misused, and it's the real world word is maybe manipulative or over sentimentality. And a lot of times we'll see things that are very manipulative. They'll put the music underneath it and sweeping, and the music overwhelms kind of like just any kind of story. And so sure, that's manipulation. But this kind of sensitivity, this kind of sentiment, when I was watching these films, connects immediately to nostalgia, the past. That's why it's vulnerability, because it starts to make you think about your own life, where you are, where you're heading, what has and hasn't happened. And so I've seen these two movies, Drive My Car, which is this beautiful Japanese movie, and The Worst Person in the World, which is this gorgeous Norwegian film. I also, weirdly enough, was watching this 1953 movie called Lily with Leslie Caron, this French-American film. And I was so blown away how these movies have risked like the childlike aspect of telling story. And I was like, this is so brave. It's not over sentimentalized. It's just pure, honest vulnerability that then harkens us, at least for me, back to, nostalgia. Not sadness, although I was bawling watching both those movies, but connects to the hope of something, the hope. So I just want us all in the new year to risk putting sentiment, putting that mindful awareness of being open-hearted to the center of our work. It takes so much bravery and balls, you guys. It's so much more effective and powerful than being too cool and being so clever and glib, which is kind of what our culture, I think, is kind of becoming. And it's not interesting. It's also devoid of real feeling, and it has there's no access. Like, you can't get into that kind of art because you're not affected at that level. And we have to just be mindful, at least I think as a teacher, of staying open to letting people in, to letting things in that may risk us being sentimental for things of our past or of nostalgia, of memories, of desires of wanting things to be different. So I hope you can risk living in sentiment. It's actually kind of beautiful. It makes you feel vulnerable and alive. It makes you realize like your heart is still beating and you still want to stay connected to the childlike innocence that you still have, even though it's easy to forget that we get older. Speaking of which, I have a birthday next week, so happy early birthday to myself. All right, love you guys. Looking forward to seeing you this year on, I don't know, another round of, as we continue on this really weird, wild, wonderful journey. Love you.